What is a business park? What I'm going to do in this video is talk to you about what a business park actually is. I am a business professor. And then from there, give you a couple of tips in terms of dealing with business parks if you're thinking of doing this. So what exactly is a business park? So this is a group of companies where people have agreed to co-locate. Co-locate's a fancy word, that they're just going to be located right beside each other. Now, sometimes there's tax breaks, sometimes that there are incentives from the local government to participate in these business parks, but it's essentially just in a lot of different locations around the world that a local government, sometimes it is a provincial or state government, will say, hey, let's just make a little spot where lots of different businesses locate together. Sometimes it's themed, sometimes there's reasons to have them together. I know that maybe maybe if you're in China, for example, you might have a manufacturing business park in one particular location, or maybe you have a chemical business park in one particular location where there's lots of different chemical companies that are located, or maybe at Silicon Valley, for example, that are located in this particular area. By the way, I know this video is a little bit untypical for me, but I was just walking around and getting my car done, fixed, and I thought, hey, this is a great video to share some business ideas. So one of the things that you will notice, or why do you actually want to do this, right? So it's not, from a business perspective, sometimes it's the tax breaks that you're really aiming to get, or access to, maybe it's education in a particular location, maybe that there is a university that's close by. Usually they co-locate with a university because we know that knowledge is a really important aspect of business. But the other thing that we often do this, or why it's actually encouraged, is because it creates a localized sort of competition with each other and knowledge sharing between the different players. But a third thing that's really important besides the sort of competition aspect, there is mobility that can happen between the individuals, right? So maybe you have different sales staff that move between the different companies. You don't want to do that often as the companies, but the employees that are actually there can do that, and that creates this kind of little mini group where it's easier for different folks to participate in business and help out the other businesses, right? So they're kind of competing with each other, but at the same time, they're also collaborating with each other. There's a helicopter going above, so the sound's going to get a little bit worse. The idea is to make sure that you're grouping together so that the businesses kind of work together, right? So a lot of people think about business, they think about competition, but that's not actually a great way to think about it. It's not just about competition. I think that it's actually harmful to think about this, even though that is a big part, some part of it. But there's also this idea that you co-locate so you can work together and move towards something, towards, a joint goal of discovery, for example. There's famous ones like the Palo Alto Business Park in Silicon Valley, and that's basically what they're doing. And there's lots of different innovation that can come from that. It's actually really important for innovation or industrial progress when you co-locate together, right? And then you can sort of create this competence in this area. It's a really busy area. When you create this competence in this particular area where everybody grows and gets a little bit better. All the different companies grow and get a little bit better. So what can you do, right? Like, is it beneficial for you to actually participate in these? I think so. I think that it makes sense. Sometimes you can get those tax breaks, which can be helpful. But it's really about creating a pleasurable, a really nice experience for your employees so that they have opportunities. And they also have access to different, knowledge resources, all these things, so you can grow. The employees can actually grow a little bit better, right? And you're also going to have access to how other people, right? If you're a manager, for example, you have access to other companies, how they actually deal with things and what might be the best possible way to actually deal with things in your particular location. So that's the important thing to think about with business parks, is to really think about how it might accelerate what you are doing as a access to these different resources that are there. Now, it's not always beneficial. Sometimes it's really expensive to locate in these particular areas. Sometimes there's lots of congestion, right? There's lots of different reasons why you might not want to locate in those areas, but often thinking about your employees, you might say, hey, this is actually great to locate in this particular business park. There's different versions of these that have sort of sprung up, right? So an accelerator, for example, for small startup-y kind of companies. There's more industrial clusters where there is, maybe multiple business parks that are close to each other. Just different versions of what we're looking at is just this clustering that ends up happening. And it's important for business growth to access these particular opportunities. Would I, as a manager, or would I, as an employee, like to co-locate in a business park? Well, that's a really big question. What I'd get you to do to think about is to take a pause, really think about whether this is actually going to be beneficial, list the pros and cons of being in this particular, that specific business park versus another one, and really think about why you'd actually want to be there. You might not want to actually be there. There might be reasons that it's not really healthy for you and your business, and instead you want to go to a different location. So I hope this helps in terms of understanding what a business park actually is. I didn't know what it was when I was younger, but now that, I've studied a little bit of business and looked at different things, having this understanding, it's just a group of companies that are together. Maybe they're located with a university. That is very, very helpful. It's helpful to understand that. Nothing really all that exciting. But just think about it. If you are a manager, think about whether you actually want to locate in that particular spot. If that makes sense for you, then it's fantastic, right? List the pros and cons. If not, then choose maybe a different location. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.